At Cat Tech, our review and installation of the Sanus BLT2-B1 mount. Hey everybody, we're here today. We have a new 55-inch Sony TV. I got this from Best Buy, paid for it myself. This is a Sanus Advanced Tilt wall mount, and we're going to go over the process of wall mounting your TV to the wall. Let's take a look first what's in this box. Again, this is the Sanus model BLT-B1. It's a Best Buy exclusive. Wanted something a little lighter and that's going to be more flush to the TV, that's going to give us a little bit more options in doing it. First thing we see when we open it, get it right the first time. Instruction manual and a nice wall mount template. So this is going to show us where to drill, and we're going to go through all this. And put these aside for now. Uh-oh. Don't panic when you see all the screws and all the bolts and everything you get in washers and such. Again, depending upon your TV, this is a universal kit. Oh, and the cats are excited about it too. Whoa! That was funny. So again, this is going to go on your TV. Depending upon your TV, you're going to only use one set of these. So again, don't panic at all the hardware that you have coming out of the box. First mount, part of this is going to go to your TV, and the other half is going to go to the wall mount bracket, which we'll get to in a moment. That's one of the pieces. You can see back here that it's actually going to go this way. This is going to attach to the wall mount bracket, and then this is going to snap in. This part here is going to attach to your TV using that hardware. So that's one of the brackets. Here's the second bracket. Looks like we're having some cat fight action as well. The cats are excited. They've demanded that we put a fish tank on the TV. Here's our second bracket. It's going to attach to the TV with this mounting hardware. Excuse me, Peaches the cat. I'll take this out. Some more hardware. This is the hardware we're going to use to hang the mount to the wall. And excuse me, Peaches the cat. This is the mounting bracket that will attach to your wall, and those brackets will snap to the TV. So we'll take a look at that. Let's leave it down. Excuse me, Blackberry the cat. Let's take all this out and see what was in the box. Cat fight again, everyone. There we go. This is everything you get. May look complicated, but we're going to do it today, and it's going to be very easy. Hey everybody, we're back. We've unboxed the product, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about, I guess, the first thing people think of when you're mounting your TV to the wall is how high should the TV go. So on average, I'm sitting on my couch, the TV's going to go across from me, and you want to think about your eye level. I know a lot of people, you walk into their houses and the TVs look like they're mounted really high to the ceiling. But what is going to be optimal for you? What works for you and what's going to be best? The rule of thumb, and again, you can go to the Sanus website and they'll give you a whole piece that we'll show later about how to make it easier to mount using their template, is the rule of thumb for most TV mounts, and again, I'm mounting a 55-inch TV, is where do your eyes shoot out? So I'm sitting on the couch and I'm tall, so I'm going to probably mount mine a little higher than average. But I'm looking straight out. The rule of thumb here is that most people's eyes, when looking out, they're going to be 42 inches. I'm a little higher. I'm at about 44, 45 inches. So I'm going to make my TV just a little bit higher because I want it a little bit higher off our stand as well when we mount it to the wall. But you're going to want to think about where your eye level is, because you want to look up or down. You want to be looking straight when you're sitting and relaxing on the couch. Okay, so now that we know that, I'm going to go for about 45 inches off the ground. That's 3 inches higher than what the recommended level of 42 inches are. For this step, we're going to need to go to your computer or mobile device. We're going to want to go to the Sanus website, www.sanus.com. We're going to look for the HeightFinder setting in the toolbar, and you're going to want to install your mount. We're going to click on Start the Tutorial. There's 7 steps in this, and first you're going to select your TV. I have a Sony TV. So I'm going to pick Sony. Pick the size of your TV. I have a 55-inch. Sometimes it'll list the model numbers. My model isn't listed, so I'm going to quickly search for my XBR model. Now I'm going to select the type of wall mount I have. Sanus makes a lot of wall mounts, so we're going to look for the BLT2, which is the Best Buy exclusive. And there it is. We're going to click on that. Now we're going to pick the mounting pattern. Again, this depends on your TV. Mine is the centered on the left, so I'm going to pick centered. And now we're going to pick height. This is what I talked about in the beginning of the video. 42 is average. Again, I'm going to go for something a little bit higher, so I'm going to pick 45. Click continue. Now it's going to calculate your dimensions and the settings. So it's going to show you floor to top of TV, floor to bottom of TV, the top drilling holes and the bottom drilling holes. You can also adjust the slider by putting your cursor over the middle where the mounting is shown and move it up and down to see how it would look in a sample room. Again, I'm going to set mine back to 45. I also recommend that you print this out once you have your settings that you like. Just do file print if you're on a computer or print from your Android device. I printed out the HeightFinder that we used online from the previous step. It's a good idea before you start drilling and even move the TV. We're going to just take a look and confirm our settings. So I got floor at the bottom of the TV. Again, I went slightly higher than the middle 42 average. I went for 45. So the floor to bottom of the TV is going to be 30.75. So the bottom of my TV is going to be here. And the top of my TV is 59.25. 58, 59. So the bottom of my TV is going to be here. So looks good, right? So I'm happy with that. So now we're going to move the TV and move on to the next step. Again, we just wanted to confirm the height settings we got. I printed it out to make it easier for myself here, and we're going to go to the next step. We did our HeightFinder, we double checked, we were happy with it. I've taken the TV off. They want you to lay the TV flat. At some point you're going to have to do, but if you have two people, with this Sony, I actually don't need to lay it flat. If you do lay the TV flat to put the brackets on, be sure to put something smooth and clean down, because if you have grit in your carpet and you lay the TV flat, it may scratch the front of your TV, which you obviously don't want to happen. So we have the two brackets which we're going to put on the TV, but before we can do that, we have to figure out what screws in all these are going to be needed. I have a Sony 55-inch TV, and my four brackets are here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have these four mounting. This is where 1, 2, 3, 4. These were actually in very tight from the factory, so it's important when you find the right screwdriver, don't do it. Don't make sure when you push it in that you're able to undo it. Put your hand up top and apply a little pressure, and we can unscrew it. On the Sony, these are very easy to strip out. So I'm going to take these four out now. I've gone ahead before. What I usually do is I put actually extra hardware in a bag. I labeled it, and then I have a hardware bag. So if you're ever looking for something down the road, you know where these four screws are if you need them. I'm going to put 2 in there. I'm going to take out this side. Apply some pressure. It's 3. 1 more off the back of the TV, and this is 4. I'm going to keep this last one out for a minute, because what you're going to want to do now is take this screw that you've just taken out of your mounting hole, and again, your TV may not have screws already in there. The Sony did, so technically you could use these. I'm going to use the hardware that came, because like I said, these the ends on these feel like they're very easy to strip with a screwdriver, and I don't want to do that. So mine are pretty straightforward. I'm going to look in the mounting bag here, and one of these screws is going to match what you just took out of your TV. If it didn't, you're going to want to find the holes that match your TV and then screw them before you actually do that. And this is the same size. So for the Sony, I'm going to use the M6 by 12. I'm going to open these up. I'm going to take my original Sony and put it there. We're also going to need the washers, which are down here. And they give you 4 washers. My Sony has a flat back. If your TV doesn't have a flat back, you're going to have to look. They give you spacers. So this is a flat back, so we don't need to use the spacers, but if you did have a rounded back, you would need to use the spacers here. This is important to get it right when you do your TV. Oops, there goes the 4 screws that they came. So I have my 4 screws now, and my 4 washers. And then this, as far as I'm concerned, we don't need anything else from this long hardware bag. Again, this is only for the mounting of your TV, the brackets to your TV. What you're going to want to do with these before you do, once you have your screws, I've already gone ahead, you can put the screws into the washers, because the screws and the washers are going to go into the bracket, which is then going to get screwed onto your TV. You're going to want to center this based on your holes. So we can see my holes here. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to go 6 down. That's about centered between this hole and this hole where it's going to get mounted. So we're going to start installing my first bracket. It's important to remember that these go inside. This is going to attach, snap onto your rack, so you're going to want to make sure these are inside when you mount this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down. 6 down for me works, and again, make sure that you're picking the right size for you on your TV. This works for this particular Sony, but yours, you may have a different number up and down. You just want to make sure that the bracket, again, is centered based on mounting holes where your mounting holes are. I'm going to start to screw this in. I'm not going to make it too tight until I get the other screw in, just to see where that's going to go. It does look like it's pretty well centered, and I'm going to tighten it. I'm not going to tighten it yet fully until I get the other side in. Want to make sure again also that these are even. So if you went 6 down, you want to make sure it's exactly the same hole. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, 6 works for me, but you may need to pick a different spacing. Here we go. Great thing about this TV mount, as I screw this in here, is there's a lot of fine-tuning adjustments. So there's little pieces here that you can fine-tune it once it's on your wall. Bottom one in. That looks good, everybody. So I'm going to carefully tighten these brackets now.
No.
I would also recommend not using an electric screwdriver. Use a regular screwdriver. Electric screwdrivers, or if you attach a screw bit to a drill, they may over torque and you may strip the screws, and you don't want to do that as well. Make sure these are all tight. Nice pressure. Again, you don't want to put your hand on and put front pressure on the front of the screen, so I'm just keeping my hand top, and we are set. Let's go drill a hole on the wall. At the point where we're going to start to mount the bracket to the wall, but before we do that, we make sure from the previous directions we have from the Sanus HeightFinder website, we have our dimensions of where we're going to need to drill. The first thing you're going to want to do in the wall is figure out where you want your TV. Once you do that, you're going to need some sort of stud finder. You can also do it by tapping on the wall. I actually recommend picking up one of these from Amazon. It's a little stud finder, and basically you move it around, and when it finds the nails, it'll stick. And you're going to find where your wood beams. This stud finder is going to help you find behind your wall there are wood beams, and you're going to want the screws that go into the mounting bracket into the wood beams on the center. So I've gone ahead already and found my beams. So I made a couple of marks on the wall for those. Again, just very easy to do. You just hover it, it sticks to itself, and then you make your beams. It's telling you there's a nail on the wall right there, and you can hear by the sound that it's solid behind it, which means that there is a wood beam there. Very easy to do. It's a great little tool to have. Once I've done that, based off of my height finder, we're going to measure off where we actually want this to be. So according to this, my bottom drilling hole in the template is going to be here, and my top drilling hole is going to be here. So we're going to want this to be 41, bottom drilling hole 41.5 from the floor. Again, this is going to change based on what you pick. You don't need to go by my dimensions. You're going to want to use whatever you got from the height finder. And I already measured off just to make it a little bit easier, 41.5. So that should be slightly, I'm just going to mark that like that. That's going to be where I want the bottom drilling hole to go. We're going to measure off 41.5 here as well, which is right there. We got that mark. I'm going to put my template on using some Scotch tape, and then we're going to start drilling. Before we start drilling the holes, just a couple things to have handy. I'm going to use a ratchet, and I've already got my ratchet ready. So once we drill the holes, it's going to be easier to get these in. I'm using a half inch ratchet. This is just going to make it easier once we get the holes drilled to just ratchet the screws into the mounting bracket. So I'm going to have that ready. You're also going to need your drill and a 732 drill bit. We did our templates. I found the studs, and we're ready to just about drill and get this template attached to the wall. I actually probed because this is some weird studs and wood behind here, so I actually did some small drilling holes to make sure, because the key is to get those big screws in the center of your studs. So once you find the studs, you want to, usually they're 16 inches apart for standard building construction. Of course, my wall is not that, of course. So I made a couple of adjustments. So what we're going to do now is get this up. I've got my holes of where it's going to go. The bottom to the floor, which we measured before, is 41.5 according to our HeightFinder. And before I attach this to the wall, start drilling, I'm just going to take a level, make sure it's level. Just want to push this up just a little bit. So before we attach this to the wall, we're going to check the level in 3 places to make sure we're good to go. Looks level. Take a piece of Scotch tape here. We're going to get our template attached to the wall. And guess what, everybody? We're ready to drill. We're ready to drill and get the wall mount on the wall. Again, 732 drill bit. It's important to note, don't go more than 2 3/4 into the wall. What I did, just as a marker for me, hopefully you can see that, I took a Sharpie and just marked the drill bit of how far the drill bit should go into the wall. Because again, remember, we're drilling long screws. These are pretty big. Okay. The first one in. We've taken our template off. We have our 4 holes drilled. We're going to put the first bolt in now. Note on mine, it's not totally even where the brackets are going in. You try and balance it if you could, but my wall beams around where we wanted the TV was just not going to work. So I'm going to start to get this first wall bracket in. I'm going to use the ratchet as I mentioned in the earlier steps. You're going to want to get this straight in. So do this right like that. And we're going to start to ratchet this in. We're up to our last bolt. Rather than bore you with me ratcheting the bolt into the wall, we'll just do the last one. You're going to want to make these very tight. You want this to be solid, but don't over tighten it. Good, good, and we're all tight. It does come with extra hardware if you did need to mount it into concrete or a regular plaster wall. There are anchors that you could use. Again, this is just for directly into your wood frame of your house in the wall. All right, next, that's it. It's up, it's solid. I did double check before while I was doing it that it was level. Next step, we're gonna get the TV up and we're done. Let's do it. We're up to the final step. We've got our wall bracket mounted. I've loosened the stands on this particular Sony model. There's 4 screws to take out at the bottom. I took that off. Again, depending upon your model of TV, you want to loosen the stand if you can work with the stand. Sometimes you may have to lay the TV flat in that first step, as I mentioned, but I didn't have to, so I'm kind of just going to lift the TV up. So we're going to lift it up. There's 2 angles up, which we'll get a close-up and show you. And we're basically going to click the top in, and we're going to listen for a lock snap at the bottom. Obviously, you need 2 people for this, so my assistant is here. We're going to pick up the TV. Hand under, pressure from the bottom, straight up.
I know how.
Okay, Jeff. 1, 2, 3.
Ready, set, go.
And we're off the stand.
Oh no.
Jeff, don't touch the front of the TV.
Oh.
Yeah. Let me come to you. Aim right for the center. We're going to angle it in a little higher. And down, down. We're in. And again, we're going to listen for the lock snaps. 1, 2, boom. We're in, and the TV's mounted. Everybody let go. Great thing about this TV mount is up. How's it look, everybody?
Good.
It actually does look good.
It does.
Good job. Just a quick note for this. Once you hear the lock snaps, we're attached. The TV's done. The cool thing about this mount is you can actually pull it slightly from the wall and tilt an angle. And if you did want to tilt it up once it's snapped, you can tilt it up or slightly down. This is actually nice if you have glare or something in the room and you need to adjust the TV after the fact, you still can. So I'm going to pull it out ever so slightly. I'm going to get my wires attached and we're going to power it up. The only thing I didn't address during my installation was what to do with the cables. On the part of the wall that's exposed through your mounting brackets, essentially in the middle where the plaster shows with the wall, you could have cut that out and fed your wires down while cutting another hole near the bottom base of where your TV stand or whatever was under there, and then run the wires through. It's a time-consuming process, and again, you have to feed the wires through the wall. Again, I did not do that in this installation video. This was really just getting the mount up and the TV up. I did get some cable ties and just temporarily tied all the cables together in the middle, and there are nicer pieces that they do sell. Sanus does sell a plastic piece that's paintable if you wanted to put a piece in there. At some point in the future, I am going to be putting up another video on how to do that. In conclusion, the mount is great. It was really easy to put up. This is the second mount I've done in my house. I had gotten a cheaper model from Amazon, which I put up in my son's room, and it was a lot harder to put it up. Also, the part of picking up the TV and just having it click in and the adjustments on this, the fine-tuning of it, are just amazing. It's very easy to fine-tune. I actually didn't need to adjust anything or fine-tune, but it's very easy to do that. I highly recommend this mount. Again, this is a Best Buy exclusive from Sanus, but there are other models that are exclusive for other stores. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. Also, be sure to subscribe. We have a lot more videos coming. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks a lot.